Hello everyone, Namaste. I am once again back with another episode of Allergy Legends. Today we are going to talk to a very special person. Can you really guess that who is this special person? So today with us, we are very fortunate that we have Dr. A.B. Singh with us. Dr. A.B. Singh is also called as Dr. Anand Bahadur Singh, and his famous work on aerobiology has also given his name to Aerobiology Singh. Dr. Singh is the scientist emeritus at CSIR Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, Delhi. After getting his education in PhD in late around 1977 in allergy and aerobiology, he has served at several positions of key positions. So, like secretary in Indian Aerobiological Society for nearly 4 decades from 1983 onwards. He has also served as secretary of ICAI in Indian College of Allergy, Asthma and Immunology from 1992 onwards, and at South Asia Association of Allergy and Immunology in 1996 onward. So we are not talking to a person today. We are actually talking to a person who is having an experience of 5 decades. So we are actually talking to the entire aerobiology of India today. So he has won several awards like Dr. Shivpuri Orishan in 1984, Lifetime Achievement Award by Apaki at 2012, Abdul Kalam Award in 2020, and Lifetime Award by ICAI in 2022. His areas of research have been always aerobiology, allergy diagnostics, and climate and allergy. Welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you with us on Allergy Legends today. To start with, can you briefly tell us how you describe yourself not just as a doctor but as a person?
Thank you, Dr. Neeraj, for extending invitation to me as a legendary person. And also, I'm thankful to your organization, which you are chairing. In fact, I was born and brought up in a small rural setup in district Basti of Uttar Pradesh. And up to primary school, my education was in a village. And I was deprived of English at that time because at that time, English used to start from 6th onward. And after that, I moved to neighboring district Gonda with my elder brother, who was advocate over there. So up to intermediate, I finished my studies at Gonda in an intermediate college there. And then graduation, post-graduation, I shifted to Lucknow. And there, by residing in a hostel, I completed my graduation and post-graduation at Lucknow. In fact, after finishing my post-graduation in life sciences, I joined briefly to the KGMU, one of the places where allergy was just to start or in a budding stage, or you can say initiation stage, because Dr. Jafar Jamil and Dr. Agnihotri, they had taken a training at Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute with Dr. D.L. Shivpuri and went back to Lucknow, and that's why they started initially the allergy unit in KGMU. At that time, only at Jaipur, Dr. Kasliwal and Dr. Sethi used to do some work in allergy diagnosis and management at Jaipur. So there were 3 centers, in fact, Patel Chest Institute, Jaipur, and KGMU, Lucknow. So after finishing that, actually, I was actually interested in joining my graduation PhD, either from Lucknow University or from the other places, wherever there was an opportunity. Then in that time, actually, once Dr. Supri visited Lucknow, and he offered me position in Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute at Lucknow. Sorry, Delhi. So I shifted from Lucknow after spending 2 years over there, initial training. And then I joined Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute as a research fellow with Dr. D.N. Shivpuri, which is still considered to be the father of allergy in India. So I completed my PhD in 1977 after joining him in 1973. And also I got interested in allergy and immunology because of Dr. Supri's attachment over there. That was the first institution in the country with the Department of Allergy and Immunology, recognized by Dr. D.N. Supri and Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute. It was during 1967 that he collected some of the leading medical practitioners or the, you can say, the authorities like Dr. Paintal, Dr. R.K. Sanyal, Dr. Vishwanathan, and started 1967 the Indian College of Allergy and Immunology. The asthma word was added later on when Dr. was there, Director ICMR, Director General, I remember the name. He motivated to include the word asthma in the Indian College of Allergy, Asthma and Immunology, and that's why he constituted the Indian College of Allergy, Asthma and Immunology. This was my beginning. I completed my PhD over there. And then, of course, I was absorbed as a faculty at Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute for some time. And then moved to Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, which was in the same campus. And it was the motivation by Dr. D.N. Supri. What happened, Dr. Neeraj, when at that time, Dr. D.N. Supri, when he started allergy and immunology at Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute, he used to procure the allergens from Backyard Allergy Unit in London and used to test. But after practicing for 2.5 years, he realized probably they are not relevant and their results were not very conducive to their expectations. Then they said our patients are not exposed to the foreign allergens, rather they are exposed to the local allergens, and fauna and flora was different. Then he initiated that and kept one or two students, including myself, to find out the local aeroallergens, particularly the pollen and fungi, in the environment in northern India, particularly in and around Delhi. It was there that we conducted, me and some more students joined, and he calculated and found out that these allergens are different than what is present in their list. And then what they did, they started converting these raw materials from the field through these people and some technicians to convert them into the allergen extract. It's a crude allergen extract, you can say. It was not very purified and other things. And there was no regulations till then in the manufacture of these allergenic extracts. So what they used to do is try to do in the laboratory conditions in Vallabhbhai Patel Chest and used to use for in-house patients. Whoever were visiting to Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute, they were being tested and also provided immunotherapy at that time with those crude extracts. And they did realize the results are much better than what they used to do. So this is how I entered into the field of allergy and immunology. And while doing the aerobiology, we came out with the pollen calendars of India from 18 different centers. But 18 different districts, you can say, in the different states. And that pollen calendar indicated the start of the pollen season, the blooming period, the peak period of the pollen season, and then also for 10 to 15% initial and last towards the end of the pollen season, another 10 to 15%, and 80% was considered to be the blooming period of the. That helped actually the physicians and clinicians all over the country to find out and identify their own pollen season and pollen quantitation. This is what entered into the field of aerobiology related to clinical health. In fact, I got a very good project that is aeroallergen and human health from the Ministry of Environment. At that time, it was around 4 crore project with 18 different aerobiological centers to find out a national pollen season from different states wherever expertise was available. We were recruited and trained. And the same, actually, monitoring units were provided to all the centers, all the active centers. So there was no variability in the method as well as the sampling devices used by them. And that included both indoor allergen sampling as well as outdoor allergen sampling confined to the pollen and fungi. So based on that, I had prepared a group, actually allergenically important group actually, for the help and diagnostic and help of selecting the allergens for testing as well as providing the allergen inventory. So this is what that book was very popular actually. In fact, it is out of press now, but no more available. So this was the beginning in entering me into the field of allergy and immunology at the Health Chest Institute. After serving 2 years, then Dr. Shupuri realized and Dr. Painter, he was director of the Patel Chest Institute at that time, realized that this is also required at the other medical institutions where the people were being trained and they wanted to start their own unit. In that case, they suggested why not to prepare the in-house local extracts. Then, since the commercial angle was involved for providing allergen extracts of the local origin to the different institutions, medical colleges, and other places, so it was ultimately regulated by the FDA, and a license was procured. And then Dr. Shupuri requested this Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, which was earlier Center for Biochemical Technology. So this unit was actually started manufacturing as per the FDA rules in the Patel Chest Institute in a different division of CSI. So they started giving the local allergens to the local people. And then later on, they transferred technology to one vendor unit. And then many people who left, who were working at Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute, they left and helped the other private organizations to start the local allergen manufacturing.
Great, sir. I think it was very enthusiastic and inspiring journey. And what I understand, and everybody knows that your group at Patel Chest has been phenomenal. And I think they have been pioneer, and definitely under the leadership of yours, you have really brought the concept of aerobiology to our country. So, just wanted to understand once again, sir, that to my understanding, I think before your work in aerobiology, I don't know, or I'm not aware that any other work of aerobiology which was existing beforehand. So means like you must have faced a lot of challenges because there were no literature available or scarcity of literature. So how you overcame all these things? And because it is for very easy for us because you have compiled a book and each one of us have a copy of your book. So it is very easy for us. But you paved that path. So we can just imagine that from nowhere you brought all these things together, pieces together. So it must have been very difficult for you. So can you please highlight a little bit about that, sir?
Well, Dr. Neeraj, what happened when I decided to do my PhD work as per the request from Dr. D.N. Shupuri to find out the local pollen allergens in the atmosphere of Delhi and in around the surrounding areas. Then challenge was before me to identify, and they are identified, they are specific in their morphological features. One pollen, even the species also vary exhaustively. Then we prepared a library of important pollen types available in and around Delhi area, from the plants, grasses, weeds, and trees. Collecting the pollen from the pollen collecting the flowers and then separating the pollen. There is a method called fermentation method. So we used to prepare the reference slides from each and every type of genera of pollen grains. For example, whether it's holotelia or it is this, they are all typically different from each other. So that library helps us in identifying the different types of fungi. So is the fungal spores. They are also identified based on the morphological features of the spores and also the color combination of the cultures which were identified. Because fungal spores, either they can be identified through the culture method or by the spore morphological features. So that was a challenging job for 1 or 2 years. We used to go to the field, collect the flowers during the season, get the plants identified to the botanist actually. Another helping teacher was Dr. C.R. Babu in Delhi University. He was a so he used to identify the plants and then we used to separate the flowers and prepare a reference slides from those pollen grains. That used to help in identifying and confirming the pollen, which you used to get on the exposed tapes or exposed slides. The conclusion of that was the challenging. And there were 15 centers, and they were, beauty was that they were all volumetric sampling. How many pollen grains per cubic meter of air existed at that time? It's not the number counts, but it was a volumetric survey of the plants. Pollen.
Right, sir. So, sir, like what I understand is that you're talking about somewhere 1960s and 1970s, and at that time, allergy concept itself was not there in the country. And now, if we see today, so the things have changed, really changed. So, in those early years when you were actually working, and definitely that specialty was not recognized, people were not aware about that. There were several doctors who were not aware about that. Patients were not aware about that. So, have you ever had to fight some skepticism about allergy practice, about aerobiology practice, or about doing work in the allergy by your colleagues or by some other probably different people around the country?
Sure. Actually, there was a challenging job actually at that time. Even the subject itself was not very acceptable to
Yes.
the people. And but credit goes to Dr. D.N. Supri and his team actually. That he started a training program. So myself, by that time, I had shifted to Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology. So both together, Institute of Genomics, at that time it used to call as the Center for Biochemical Technology. That and Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute used to jointly organize a training program for young doctors from different parts of the country. There was a huge liking for the subject, and they used to come for week program. Initially, it was for 2 weeks and twice in a year, but later on we converted to only once in a year. So 1 week's extensive training program, along with the hands-on training program, how to do the skin test, how to identify the pollen, how to do the testing and interpret the results. So these were the training programs of 5 to 6 days, morning till evening, that made the people actually aware of the subject. And that's how it became popular. And at the same time, the antigenic extracts from the local allergens were made available by Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute. Actually, no profit, no loss basis. The potentials is to be supplied free, but they used to supply to the other institutions like KGMU, Jaipur, and other places. They used to charge a little bit, not very. So with that, Dr. Painter actually suggested later on that why not to transfer this technology some public sector organizations rather than using in the institutions. We can focus more on R&D rather than manufacturing the allergen. So it continued. The allergen manufacturing and supply at Center for Biochemical Technology or Institute of Genomic Sequencing continued till 2016. After that, they started with 2 or 3 private sector companies came forward and started manufacturing the allergens. One was in Trivandrum, one was in Bombay, one was in Delhi. So they started manufacturing the local allergens. Of course, not very strict rules were there as far as quality control was concerned. About the quality control of these allergens, they used to be aqueous crude extracts made by volume basis rather than quantitation in the terms of biological units or allergy units and so on and so forth. That is still not there. But at least now they have taken some steps actually, this FDA, to produce according to their manual. That is, chemically they are being standardized. I don't know whether it is implemented or not. That as per the number of protein bands, that used to be the criteria SDS protein profile. That is in their manual now. Beside the weight by value, at least biochemical characterization, because those protein bands, some of them are allergenic, some of them may not be allergenic. So those allergenic bands must be present actually, that molecular weight and other things. In every batch, that is the actually standard so far approved by the FDA in actually Indian conditions.
Right, sir. So, what I understand and what I gather is that nearly 5 decades have spent somewhere from 1975 to today's 2025, and we understand that allergy has really taken now a big step forward. Let us first talk about education. So you rightly mentioned that Patel Chess Institute has been phenomenal, and I think the torch bearer to start that 2 week program. And that actually, even I have also completed that program. So that was my first training program at Patel Chess. So there are several of us like me who have completed that program, done that program, and that has been really well structured program. So and it is still going very strong. The program is still going very strong. Now in our country, there are several other programs which are also started in past few years or probably 1 decade or 1.5 decade, and then the people are, you can say, like getting some training either from inside the country or outside the country. So what is your opinion? What do you think, how you look at it from the bird's eye view point of view, that how this education which you dreamt of 5 decades back, so is it going in that direction, or are we reaching that phase, or where are we? What is your opinion about that?
Dr. Neeraj, as far as Patel Chest is concerned, they tried their best to get it recognized by the MCI, a proper structured course, certificate course in allergy and immunology. But so far it has not been successful. So far. As so far as other training programs like Vedantan is conducting at, you have attended that one too.
In different
And
centers, yes,
you
sir.
are
Well,
also
also,
conducting
yes,
courses. Yeah, you are
yes,
also conducting.
yes.
Like this, there are other places also people are training the program, but they are not very serious actually. Like your center, I understand that there is a structured program and the people are coming, particularly pediatricians, they are coming there. And the awareness has come. What I realized, awareness about the allergy and immunology has come. But only thing is only focusing on practice rather than on academic aspects. This is what the challenge is. Unless it is a recognized course either by MCI or other organizations, like Delhi University, they said certificate course you can conduct at any level, there is no problem. This university, not the degree, but the certificate course. But we are not interested the university recognized only. Wanted that it should be recognized by MCI or other academic bodies. So that's the reason we could not start it. And as so far as other organizations, they are also doing a good job for 3 days or 1 week, or some are conducting monthly or yearly programs. So that way also the awareness has come a lot into the physicians, general physicians. But there are some, my only worry is people, either their training is not up to that mark, or they are only interested in practicing earning money rather than focusing more on academic aspects. So this in vitro training, in vitro testing for total and specific IgE has proliferated a lot. Introduce CRD, componentally solved diagnosis by but based on that one alone, without having a clinical history, we call it as a distant practice. I think that may not be. I remember, I mean, many people are physicians sitting in small towns and small places. They are sending the several pages results of the specific IG or total IG, etc., to the manufacturers. And they ask them to prepare the allergens as per their report. Even they are not aware what was the history of the patient. They should correlate it. They suggest important allergens to be included in the vaccine. It's not even that one. They send the report as such, and then the producers or the manufacturers of allergens, they play with that according to their convenience. So that's a misuse of the discipline actually. So that should
I
also be covered under that
Yeah,
one.
I completely agree with you, sir. I 100% agree with you. And allergy is basically like a good clinical science, a good history, which is
Yeah.
very, very essential. And you cannot go away without a good history. So I completely agree. Sir, what changes, like you have seen now, you can say, like, I would say that half century, you have really seen evolvement of allergy diagnostics, especially in our country. So you started with some allergen extracts, which were very crude allergen extracts manufactured by you or guided by you, and then thereafter some a little standardization came, then blood testing started, then in the blood testing specific IG different type of techniques came in, and then now with this advent of component of the molecular diagnostics. So basically we have really moved in the terms of allergy diagnostics a lot, and similarly in immunotherapy. So you started with some subcutaneous immunotherapies, then in between there were some allergoids came, and now even sublingual drops were there, which were not that standardized, and now sublingual tablet has recently been launched in India. So how you see means like all these changes which are going on in the country in terms of diagnostics and therapeutics for allergy.
There has been advancement, no doubt about it, like the different modes of delivery of the vaccine, actually immunotherapy vaccine. But still the subcutaneous allergy vaccine actually is the hallmark actually. 90% of the people are using that. And sublingual or even the tablets which has recently been launched, they are there, but not for all the allergies. They are only for just mites, dust mites one. Dust mite is a very important allergen in the Western countries. But in India, it's not that. Now it is taken because mites do not survive. I have these studies on mites. Some of the students were there to find out the seasonality and the concentration of dust mites in the Indian homes. And we realized that only in the month of July, August, after the rains, the dust mites were more prevalent as compared. Or they are more common on the coastal areas near the seashore and other things may prevent them. So they are important. But even in the Western world, only few allergens, 5 or 6, they have been standardized, and their tablets or the sublingual allergens extracts are made available. In Indian, unfortunately, the Indian allergens, they are not included in that one except a few, particularly the pollen allergens. They are all different. That is the drawback in getting these extracts not locally available actually. Standardized extracts, not available. Standardized in the sense whether they are in the form of sublingual or in the form of tablets, they're the same. The same extract actually gets lyophilized, made a powder, and then that is made a tablet. That is good actually. Actually, as so far as patient's convenience is concerned, that is very good. But it should be made available for indigenous allergens as well as from other allergens which are important to the patients.
Yes, sir. So you have actually brought a very important point and very relevant point. So let us talk, you can say, like about the future. Like we are now standing in 2025. So we should now prepare ourselves for next 5 years or next 10 years. So let's talk about 2030. So my question to you is that we understand that there are so many several training programs right now which are going on in the country, and there are definitely many shortcomings many drawbacks which needs to be rectified in these training programs, and so that they all can come to a same platform, same level, and probably the standardization or the recognition can happen. So what do you think that from here, from 2025 marching towards 2030, next 5 years, how we should proceed further? What is your advice regarding the education or the training, regarding the diagnostics, regarding the therapeutics? So all three segments, sir.
Well, we have to think jointly, actually, all the organizations which are working in this field. They should join hands and a uniform method. And like we have recently published the book on diagnosis of allergy. I think you must have seen that.
Sir.
Diagnosis of allergy.
Right.
So we need to standardize our own practice and research. We should come out as a molecular level, as the world is moving towards molecular diagnosis as well as molecular therapeutics. Standardization of allergens is very, very important, which has been lacking so far. Even the FDA is not very much aware, actually. There was a committee constituted, so at least some entrance has been made in the Indian pharmacopoeia about standardization of allergens. There are two biochemical. Biological standardization is not there because we are not able to convince them, the committee which was there, they are not able to convince them that human involvement in the standardization of allergens like in vivo and the biological unit and was suggested to them. So they said the human beings cannot be used as a guinea pigs. Our ethics committee in the FDA, they are to be convinced it's not the human direct involvement. It is their blood containing are the patient's serum, containing the allergenic profiles actually of patients. The serum bank has to be developed by standardization of allergens on biological basis. Those serum can come from the proper project or proper multi-center studies where patients well identified through skill activity, through clinical history, through identifying the specific IgE to that allergen. Their sera is taken and serum bank is prepared for standardization of biological standardization of allergen. That is very much lacking actually. And that people have to join hands actually. Uniform standardization of allergens and availability also. That molecular diagnosis has to be standardized. Even CRD also, you find only hundreds of food allergens. In food allergens, there are no legumes, there are no other Indian allergens, but only whatever is eaten and fruits outside. And food allergy is not that common, only 4 to 5% or 6% children suffer, only 2 to 3% adults suffer with food allergy. We all measure should be the dust mite as well as the, not more, but 5 to 6 important allergens should be included from Indian version to be standardized at molecular level. And that is possible. I have standardized and characterized around 40 pollen and fungal allergens in our research papers. That can easily be used by the allergen manufacturers to see there is no binding on them so far. That's why they are still continuing at 50 years old made by volume basis.
Right, sir. And what is your opinion about the sir, please go.
Yeah. No, go.
So what is your opinion about the recognition, like National Medical Council recognition? So how should we proceed from here on so that the allergy specialty itself should get a recognized status, an official status in the country?
We have prepared the documents and rather not only we and the Allergy and Immunology Department or the Allergy and Immunology Society, but other organizations like your organization, or one is there in Bangalore, all these people should gather together and approach them. We have approached a lot. very time. Even Rajendra Prasad was the director here. He also went and met. We also went and met them. But somehow the other is still pending, is not being clear. So we have to make efforts.
Okay, right, sir. Right, right, right. So, sir,
Yes.
yes.
But
Now,
that is important.
yes, definitely, sir, definitely. Now, I will ask you few questions, which will be like very small answer type of question. Could be one word, two word, or just one sentence. So, what do you think a common myth among the community or among the physicians or so-called allergy specialists about allergy, which is still going on? The commonest myth which you feel.
I didn't get you.
So, I am saying,
But
sir, like, what do you
can you
think?
repeat the question?
Sir, in your opinion, what is a common myth or what is a common myth which people usually feel about allergy? That could be an allergy specialist or that could be a general community. Common myth about allergy.
Actually, it is still somehow or other our own community, medical community, degraded the system. And some people are misusing or overusing the program. That also creates confusion among the clinicians itself. But unfortunately, we have been on defensive rather than offensive. Allergy practitioners are some of the genuine allergy practitioners. I'm not talking about those sitting in a small just proposing the allergens and doing the practice. And those who are academically oriented, like your organization, my organization, or some other people in different parts of the country. They have to make efforts actually. That has been lighted with the wholehearted effort. Yeah. So we
Sir,
have to make efforts, and I'm sure we will succeed one day
sir,
standing there.
sir, one allergy tool or one tool which you would like to bank most during allergy practice. What is your one advice as a allergy tool in the allergy practice?
Good clinical history from the patients, selection of allergens according to symptomatology of the patients. Not that if you have 200 allergens, keep on testing all the 200 allergens. Relevant to the clinical history of the patients. Good quality standard allergen for diagnostics as well as for therapeutic purposes will definitely improve the efficacy of the
Sir,
treatment.
one allergist which you admire the most, not yourself, apart from yourself. So that is one could be from India, one could be from outside India, sir.
Well, from India, still I consider who is Dr. D.N. Supri as the father of allergy in India. He's the one who motivated, he started, and was relevant at that time, even relevant today also. That I consider my teacher also.
And anyone from outside India you want to say, sir?
Jean Boucher from France.
Great, sir, great. Sir, thank you
I've
very
had
much.
the occasion to work with him for some time, and I
Sir,
found to well.
sir, thank you very much, sir, for sharing your very inspiring journey, your wisdom with us. Before we sign off, any message which you would like to give to the young allergist or the people who are now interested or getting in the field of allergy. So, any message which you would like to give them before we sign off.
I'd like to say that allergies should be practiced. Most some of the people should use this judiciously, not overuse, not misuse, or underuse. It should be systematically used with good clinical history, good allergen availability, and also the good allergen immunotherapy practice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you. So today we spoke to Dr. A.B. Singh, and he has really gone very deep, and we understood that how these things really started somewhere around 50 years back, 55 years back. And I must say that your group has really, you can say, like struggled a lot, and you people have really brought something which is so relevant. You were so great visionary that you were actually knowing that what is going to happen another 30 years, 40 years, or 50 years down the line. And you started that work at that particular time, which was very essential, very important. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you to you, and thank you to your entire team for doing such a wonderful work. And because of all this work, we all are now existing, and we all are now thinking about something and doing something. So thank you very much. So stay tuned with us for next episode of Allergy Legends, where we will be once again coming back to you with another allergy legend for their inspiring journey. Till that, bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraj.